Golly gosh, I still smell the lingering notes of red dog in here. Good evening, little lycanthrope. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I'm Viscountess Emeline, Clara's mother, the one who organized your stupendous capture. It went quite well, don't you think? Other than for poor Harold. You see, I'm not too keen on pets myself, but a mother does anything to keep her daughter happy. She quite loves to have a little pet all of her own. I see you're back in your dashing human form, as the full moon has set. At least the clothing seems to fit you reasonably well. I'll have to do something about this soon, though. I say, I must speak with Lenora before she leaves. It doesn't matter what I meant by that. Do not concern yourself with that for now. I'll explain it later. Where is a napkin when one needs it? You seem to have gotten canapes all over your face. Seems you're quite the messy eater. Can't say that is unheard of in these parts. Yes, it looks like I need to neaten this monstrosity on your head. Also, can't imagine what it looks like in your wolf form. Clara will soon have you looking stupendous shortly. I'll need to get you a collar too, to differentiate you as one of our own. That's a bit better for now. How are you? Oh, pish. I mean no harm to you, believe me. If I'd wanted to, it'd be done already. Do calm down. I do find fear quite vexing. You don't need the lavatory, do you? You know what? I've had enough of this poppycock. Stare into my eyes at once. You are feeling calm. You feel very safe. You are wanted here. You are needed here. You're okay. Feeling much better, Pop? Marvelous. I tried a little trick upon you, one that has all the vampires amongst us have mastered. It is called compulsion. I've compelled you to be calm. You can't help but obey me because, well, I controlled your mind. Don't worry, I don't use it for evil means, usually. I do feel quite seedy after the party last night. I'm not terribly fond of such gatherings. I find them to be quite the bore, especially when one acts atrociously, which tends to happen if one is tight and blotto, as my children like to get. But Clara did look utterly ravishing, did she not? We share a tailor. cut of the same cloth and all that. I do enjoy irony. What I don't enjoy is them acting quite absurd and preposterously prancing around the place, dancing on tables. My, such ghastly behavior. Truly, I'd have thought that I've grown out of it by now. I spent half the night on the sofa eating pudding just to avoid the worst of it. When you're as old as I, your senses are so utterly heightened that it really becomes quite a bit much, dear. But being the Viscountess of the house, I was in a bind. Can't escape for the entire night. Did you have a helping of pudding? Oh, they were splendidly delicious, weren't they? I do adore pudding. So, how are you finding your new, glorious home? Too big, darling? When you're around for yonks, as I, one tends to find oneself to have accrued a terrible mountain of wealth through the years, and after a usual exploration, one finds more joy tucking away into a quiet corner of one's own structured oasis. I suppose you've heard of me prior to last night also? Oh bugger, here we go again. There. Everything is okay. Do calm down. It's all going to be utterly okay. No one will hurt you. You are absolutely safe. If anyone tries to, they'll have me to deal with. And I assure you, nobody wants that. Bravo! You've managed to calm down without compulsion. Well done. I suppose I can't quite blame you, as I am platinum rank after all, and I severely outrank you. It's only natural. Come on now, enough of such nonsense. I know I'm a little intimidating and to the point, perhaps, but if I would want to have harmed you, you wouldn't still be here. Trust me. I'm quite well mannered, wouldn't you agree? Jolly well. You're finally calm. Why so fearful? Has my reputation preceded me as always? You see, why would I quell the fears of me, destroy the very rumors that keep us all safe here? It's part of the reason why our nest hasn't been wiped out yet. We're a rather small and intimate house, gentle and peaceful, but defensive of our kin. I've never harmed you, have I? Of course I haven't. So why the big eyes? I guess being platinum rank has its downsides after all. Pretty much everybody is scared of you. But that's what happens when you're powerful enough to rival an army, I suppose. Those rumors were technically true once, but now simply codswallop. Those times are long in the past now. I've changed from such beastly behavior. They called me the guillotine. My appetite was so ravenous I would... Well, let's just say I could viciously decimate a small village in a night. When I met Clara, and turned her and adopted her as one of my own, things changed for me. She was different, and she inspired me. She inspired me to be different, like her. It's quite rare to surprise me. Someone as old as I. I know she holds a grudge because I turned her, but she doesn't know that I was really just saving her. I'd lived for eons and seen all kinds of humans that you'd ever meet. It was tedious and quite a bore to even try to blend in for longer than a week. I'm beginning to think that's why I was so vicious. Humans just utterly bore me. So I set sea to Australia for a change of scenery in 1860. In one of the settlements, I noticed this young woman. She was different. Amidst all the convicts, she inspired me and all in her town by her selfless kindness. She would often give the poor kids her bread while she went without. Would help in any task anyone ever needed and even cared for the sick. Every day I watched her, kept her out of harm's way best I could. I saw her frail body grow frailer every day. I'd never have one of my own in my human form, you see. My maternal instincts felt the very need to protect her. I placed more and more bread in her path, but the more I gave her, the more she gave away to starving children. Soon the townsfolk began falling ill with pneumonia. She began to care for a sick elderly couple. And once I saw that she had caught the cough, I had had enough of her being a buffoon and decided to turn her then and there. I couldn't watch her demise. I just couldn't. Couldn't let her see me, the monster I once was. Your kindness is awfully infectious, and so, as she showed me you could be a monster without being a monster, I followed her lead. Now you know all about me, as I know all about you. Oh, I've done my research, a powerful and fierce warrior. That's right, little wolf. I know everything. I just wanted to meet the newest member of our family, see why Clara's quite taken with you. You are now formally recognized as Clara's pet. I just hope she doesn't break this one, like she has all the others. I'm terribly sick of burying them. Oh, I am kidding. See? I do have a sense of humor after all. Seriously, the look on your face was quite priceless. Don't worry. Unless you harm someone here, no one will ever harm you. Your hair still does look quite abysmal. Did Maid Taylor not brush it? I thought I told her to. Here we have to keep our appearances neat and organized. Let's brush those tangles out here then. Aha, my comb. Darling, if you do have any questions that you need answered, please do not hesitate to ask me. Good question, pup. The idea to form an alliance with the werewolves was inspired by my cousin Lenora. She'll be making her way down soon after this, once I call her. I'd usually task this to my other witch, but I don't want to dangle too many humans in front of you, or my kin either. You understand. Lenore is quite eccentric, like us, living on her own up in the mountains. Not too far from here, in fact. She did tell me that one day, when she was out in the woods, she saw a trapped wolf. It almost froze to death, in fact, so she had decided to rescue it. And came up with this great idea to make the wolf her pet. No one had ever heard of such a thing. Perhaps her loneliness had gotten to her, but she was always quite a lone wolf. Pun not intended. Turns out werewolves, if treated well, become extraordinarily loyal. As you can see, this set my cogs in motion. I say, I told myself, what if this could help keep the other houses off our backs? For a while now, they had been nipping at the edges of our territory, punishing my children for our lifestyles. They think us weaker. But humans are just animals too. All blood is red. Eventually, some of us started to adopt the same concept of adopting monsters. A friend of mine had this little thief in his pantry. Turned out to be a werewolf girl. 20 years later, she still lives there. As I said, incredibly loyal. My dear cousin and her pet don't argue with each other. They live so nicely and peacefully together. It's rather heartwarming. Well, almost peacefully. There was this one situation. Oh, I see. I've piqued your interest a little like a throat. Well, you needn't worry. They're both well now. But when her pet first started living there, she did warn that they were not to enter her room. Let's just say the curiosity got the better of them. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm sure she gave them quite the earful, as it doesn't seem to have occurred since then. In fact, the way they look at her now, quite like a little puppy, is somewhat adorable. Anyway, I'm fairly anxious to get started on training with you. The other bloodthirsty vampires, especially the Sand Queen family, always coming up in whispers from my little spies. They believe in the traditional ways of blood-sucking, violence, and murder. As you know, my fellow vampires and I are above such savagery. But there is one thing that is known, is that they do have a fear of wolves. And you in your human form just doesn't inspire shaking boots. You're very needed, darling. You're simply extraordinary. You're so incredibly important to us. I hope we can reach an agreement of some kind. We offer you protection, home and family, and food in return for your offensive odor, which is quite a successful deterrent. Of course, you would know werewolves smell quite a bit, well, pungent to our kind. Everything about you and us are at odds to each other. But we are civilized now. Now, anyway. And I'm sure we can look past those things, right? How such a small patch of fur, or hair rather, can mount up so soon is truly beyond me. Anyway, little pup, I've quite enjoyed our repartee. You aren't as tiresome as some of the guests last night, at least. I must make haste to the drawing room to monitor the clean-up after the party. Poor maids will be busy quite a while. I do have my dear cousin Lenora to make her way to see you here quite shortly. She'll place a tiny spell on you. Don't worry, it will all be alright. Remember, we won't let anyone hurt you now that you are my beautiful Clara's pet. Okay? Cheerio, little pup. It's been lovely.